Hello, this is the first result or first half time to talk to where we do not have Sean Dyche in the role. It started off quite flat, honestly. I think it's been quite pensive, but it did grow in. The match started to grow, but basically right around the time of the Oro Mangala strike, I think it started from a cross from Vitaly Mikalenko that wasn't dealt with, a poor clearance, and it hit the bar. And from there, things started to heat up a little bit. The result is 1-0 at halftime. It was a well weighted through ball and a well timed run, which is rare for Beto. Basically, one of the centre halves for Peterborough was not up with the rest of his line, which allowed Beto to sneak in. It was a very awkward goal for those that were the watching from Goodison. I think feel free to add comments, but there was a very muted reaction. But it almost seemed that people thought he was offside. He scored, and it seemed like a relatively dissatisfied reaction from the crowd. Seamus Coleman was very enthusiastic, screaming in the ear of Leighton Baines on the touchline, and he was playing it cool. I think as the new manager ought to, I suppose, trying not to get too excited too early. But the joy and love from Seamus on the touchline from that goal was obvious. What I'll do here is try and look over some of the high level stats. So let me get that set up here quickly. I'll bring up the results from SofaScore and we can talk to them. So we've got here, I'll see if I can zoom in a little bit and cover more of my screen. So if we look at the lineups, we knew we'd be playing with a back five today. So Mikalenko is more of a fullback than a wingback, but he is advancing similar to what he has done under Daesh with those overlapping runs. Nathan Patterson, in my view, has been probably the standout for the entirety of that first half. It wasn't overly inspiring for a lot of it. I think it was very cagey, especially from both squads, really. There was at the very beginning there, O'Brien and Nathan Patterson bumped into each other, not communicating. Basically, you wonder how often they play together, or is it just the heat of the moment? So Patterson is playing out wide right. Harrison Armstrong is the surprise positionally. He's playing sort of as an inside forward, similar to Njai. Um, but basically, Patterson has been delivering quite a few crosses in that advanced position and hasn't really been challenged defensively from the likes of Hayes or Jones on that side. So he's had quite a reign up top. Delivery wise, I think Patterson has done a few good crosses. I'm probably going to forget a couple. I think Armstrong had one really good cross that Beto got his head to, but it didn't lead to a goal. Garner Gay has been on corners, which is a bit strange. Branthwaite had one really good cross, but otherwise he's been relatively quiet. Michael Keane hasn't been involved that much, but then again, defensively they hadn't tested us that often. I think, and I'll quickly go on the to look at some of the overall stats. It has been cagey. From what it sounded like from the commentary over here of Optus Sport, we're expecting Peterborough to actually have quite a lot of possession, but not today. A lot of possession in deep positions for Everton through the back five, plus or minus the two kind of double pivots in Mangala and Gay. But we have 60% possession. There's two big chances, one of which we scored from, 7 shots to 3. Outside of that, yeah, a lot of passes in deep positions. If we look at the goal scoring opportunities for Everton, there was one quite early on, around 2 minutes, but the attempt was saved. I don't recall this one. It must have not been that high scoring of a chance. Iliman and Jai had a strike that went wide. Oro Mangala had one early that missed, and then he had another one that hit the bar, I think, which is this one here. So that one had. They're not showing the XGs on this. I think a lot of the time on the either lower level or lower profile games, they don't have all the metrics pulled up. But the one that really stood out to me was that strike at 23 minutes from Oro Mangala. And then we had a couple headers from Beto, like this one here at 40 minutes, and then the one where he was fed through with a really good weighted through ball by Harrison Armstrong led to the goal. And I think Beto has been looking quite confident aerially. And of all times or ways to score, I did not expect Beto to score by his feet, but credit to him. There's been lots of conversation on him going to Serie A again, either on loan or permanently. So glad to see him on the score sheet all the same. For Peterborough, there was a couple chances that came on pretty late on, but I think Ricky J. Jones had a shot that was blocked. But the one that really, and it was in around that same minute, so they started coming in with a couple scary chances there. The one that um, looked like it was more likely to lead to a goal was from Cyan Hayes. It was a corner kick, I believe, and Beto was kind of patrolling on the edge of the 18-yard box, was chasing the striker who's coming in for the run, but they both missed, and it was led to the back post with Cyan Hayes, who struck it hard and low. It was a good technique on it, but Jake O'Brien got there first, and I think he got a hip to it, and then it was blocked right after that by Jared Branthwaite, and then was able to be handled by not Pickford, Joe Virginia. And then there was one right around halftime by Ricky J. Jones that was on target, but and low on his lower right hand side, but didn't lead to too much there. So let me quickly talk to some of the comments here. So Rod Ross seeing the positivity with even Mikalenko going getting forward, and I think that I've been guilty of this too, saying that Mikalenko never goes forward. I think he goes forward quite a bit. Actually, it's a lot of the time it's you go either forward on your left hand side or your right hand side, and he's doing. The problem I've found is when he does go forward, does he deliver a good cross? No, but he has been doing those crosses more often. Martin Keown talking Peterborough up when we're clearly the better team. And I'm not sure if we're on the same content over here, Peter, but they're also saying that it was a madness decision to sack Dyche, and that he did a great job under Everton. So a lot of the there's quite an obvious disconnect with a lot of the let's say the Sky Sports, Optus Sports, whatever the main broadcasting channels are, compared to the fans that sort of feel the pulse of the team, especially if they're not focusing on one team. They think high level. Well, clearly, Dyche's wasn't really a problem. Everton fans just have lost it, and I think that's maybe that's a little bit the same with Martin Keown talking up Peterborough, but Peterborough score a lot of goals, have a lot of possession, but have neither of those today. But they were looking dangerous in those last 5 to 10 minutes, which makes the game a lot more interesting because it was quite flat, honestly, for the first 20 minutes or so. I'm on my second coffee now. I'll definitely need a couple more as we go along. Known still salty because Ratcliffe bullied him. Not sure I'm following that one fully, but feel free to add more, Rod. But O'Brien and Patterson bumping into each other and stuff like that is a mistake, yeah, but it's not exactly a massive blunder that defines a game or anything. Just more a bit of a blunder thing. Yeah, what I was kind of getting at, Peter, was that was sort of it. I think that typified the first 15 to 20 minutes of being a bit cagey, and everyone the flow of the game hadn't really gone into full swing yet, because O'Brien and Patterson have both actually been doing quite well. But that to me just stood out as one of those kind of moments, you know. So Rod Ross saying they're lacking confidence, but nice to see them having a go. Yeah, and I think a goal or two. And for those that remember the content when right after the Man United flogged us, I made a comment to the effect of sometimes all you need is a goal to change the narrative and get more of a positive headspace, and all of a sudden people play freer. Jan was talking about I was living in fantasy land, but of like living in America for too long. But honestly, sometimes all you need is a moment of positive reinforcement, a goal, a ball hits the bar, and all of a sudden the game changes, and the attitudes and of the players. You don't play as reserved. You feel like all of a sudden you make the runs that you weren't doing 5 minutes ago. You're making a dive back post because all of a sudden you see the goal. You see a goal coming. If Ashley Young plays against the Sun, he better kick him and teach him a lesson. Yeah, sure. You don't want to injure your own kid. Hopefully, that's not a good precedent to have. But you know what? If Everton are up 2-0, which I could certainly see happening, and they both play for the last 30 minutes, I don't think that's a bad situation on on a cold Goodison night at this time of year. Miko delivered a cracker early on. I'm trying to remember the cross you're talking about, because the cross that led to the chance was okay. It was back post a little bit. It hung up in the air a bit, but I thought it was a lot more to do with the poor clearance, if it's the same one. Peter also saying good goal too. Better, showing some composure for a change, and never seen him do that before. So yeah, to add to what the point is that Peter's saying, he timed his run. He was sitting with the center half, who was on the last line of defense. Had a weighted run, and then he receives the ball kind of in that right channel between the left fullback and left center back position for Peterborough. He takes his touch on his right foot, and then he knocks it out wide right past the keeper, takes him to ground, and just slots it without trying to overthink it, not trying to belt it to the bottom, into the top of the net or anything, just comfortably into the goal mouth, which to me was a really nice touch. So outside of that, I think it's probably going to be about back to halftime. What I would like to see in the second half, I think. I don't really feel like I need to see any more of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I like seeing Harris and Armstrong in this right inside forward position. If Brozier is fit and available, I would like to see him showing up in the spot that Armstrong is in, and potentially you take out Idrissa Gana Gueye and drop Armstrong back to that midfield role, especially if we're up, say, 2-0 and we don't need to hold any result here. I think outside of that, I would like to see the back three sticking for this entire match, especially Branthwaite and O'Brien. If you sub off Keane and keep that future partnership going, great. I want to see Patterson play the entire match. I wouldn't mind to see what Ashley Young would do if we take off Mikalenko, knowing that he's sort of a fullback for us, or has done that job, but he also plays in a wing position. Is he a alternate in this new back five situation instead of Vitaly Mikalenko? And maybe that's the way for him to line up against his son, who's also on the bench, going by Tyler Young. I don't really have much excitement to see Abdoulaye Doucouré come on, or Jack Harrison. Maybe we can see the likes of Luke Butterfield come on, or Armando Brozier, or Jack Harrison, just for some confidence minutes. But I expect to see the likes of Young and Brozier come on, and would like to see Butterfield and maybe Lindstrom as well. But I think we're probably coming out towards the end of the halftime break here. So I'm going to leave you until the post-match, which I'll be awake. If I'm awake here at about 5 a.m., give me another hour and I should be even more coffeed up. I think Basil should be there, and I think Ryan will be coming there late from Goodison Park once he gets network on a cold, blustery evening. So until next time, everybody, up the toffees.